sending out the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Good to see you, Low Country. Stephen, how are you? Welcome. Hope everybody's doing well wherever you might be. Pay attention to the graphic on the screen, because the BDST Bash at the NRV Super Bowl is happening this Saturday at 6, and we invite everybody to come by, say hi, kick a tire or two. There you go. See, you got the dog is having Had good times, got his party hat. Balboa's got his party hat. See how happy everybody is? That's the way you're going to feel on Saturday at the Super Bowl. Yeah. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. We would love to hear from you. And on the Professional Door text line, 540-391-0788. Coming up today, Coach Elmo will join us in the second hour, and Todd Grantham joins us as well. It is the dreaded ACC Media Kickoff Week, so you'll get a lot of that. I think the Virginia Tech Takeover Day is today. So, sure, lots of folks will be very excited. Yeah. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Reach out to them today for a free quote. We were over at McClellan Chiropractic last week. Had a great time with Mark. Folks got to check out the goods over there. 155 Walters Drive. Of course, we're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. And on Friday, we were up at the Sportsplex, and I got to talk about that in a second with Jonathan Sweet. My goodness gracious. Thanks to James Lawson. I think he's coming to the Bash on Saturday. Give James a call, 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Our question, we need a new one, BDST Fan Question of the Week, 701 West Main Street in Radford, the attorney Ryan Pry, Trusts and Estate Planning. We are partners with National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner for yours truly and for this program. Talked about Professional Door a lot. Had a lot of people asking me. It's pretty simple. Give them a call, 674-0008. In the month of July, you immediately get $40 off of your visit as they come by just to preventative maintenance on your garage door. Do it. Doesn't matter if you've used them before or not. Once you use them, you won't go back. But you have to schedule it in the month of July, and you have to mention it here that you heard from BDST that we were talking about it. ReadySetFund.com, Bob Christ, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. It's a series of text messages, and your organization can earn some money. Just talk to the folks around Floyd County High School and how they've helped their softball team. Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations, long list of satisfied clients in the area. Superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication, nothing but 5-star ratings. Reach out to the Smith brothers today. We mentioned the Super Bowl. There it is on the screen. We'll be there. Call them up, 540-382-5525. And that's where we're going to be having the bash. We'll remind people all week, you're welcome to come. I don't expect it's going to be massive, maybe 20 people or so. But we would love to have you there. Yes, we would. Yes, we would. Good morning. How are you? What else we got going on? Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel as well. All right. So, yeah, it's the ACC Media Kickoff this week. Everybody excited? I went to one, I guess, in 2004. And, you know, it's changed a lot now that TV's gotten involved. It's now a spectacle. I guess they were always involved, but not as much as they are now, to where it's basically scheduled for TV. What's going on, Rev? Good to see you. What's on, Kurth? Hello. Please subscribe, gentlemen. It's changed a lot. You know, you could get a lot of good answers before. And I met a lot of these coaches and created the relationship with Bobby Bowden. But now, you know, it's different. It's different. And, of course, it's going to be. And it's different everywhere, the SEC, the Big Ten. I mean, all these conferences, it's just not the same. It's now structured for TV, and I get it. It's part of the TV deals. It's part of the evolution of it. But it would be hard, even if someone said, hey, here's your free week of media passes and your hotel stay. to say, yeah, let's go down there. And maybe be a little different doing the show, but the show's early. Then again, if you're down there, it means I wouldn't be doing my other job. So you could maybe move the time of the show or do a special show. But you have to work all that out ahead of time. And we'll see what all the prognosticators think. I don't think they do an official poll, though, do they? Coming out of the ACC Media Days? Maybe they do. I can't remember if they do or not. Agreed for me. This is waiting for kickoff. Well, you wait till the week after the VMI game. By the way, this week in the Patriot, I've decided, because I've had so many people ask, I'm going to give my unabashed, completely irrelevant, game-by-game prediction for Tech in 2026. Yes, I am. It will be pointless. It'll be silly. I will do the best I can. But take it with a grain of salt. But I'll be doing that this week in the Patriot. So Michigan has fired its athletic director. Thought this was interesting. From 21 to 23, Michigan football had the best 3-year run in program history, including, a national championship under Jim Harbaugh. Since that time, 12 members of those staffs and now Ward Manuel, the AD, have been forced out amid constant scandals, 24 separate scandals since Ward Manuel took over. 10 years, 24 scandals. Chris Lowe, who's a college football reporter, said, when you spend more than $11 million for an outside firm to come in and check all of your closets, it's rarely a good thing for the people overseeing those cleaning the house. So Michigan now has become, I guess, the poster child for do you say the most unseemly program in the country? Athletics program, right? They just lost their basketball coach, Dusty May, who left hastily because there's about to be a scandal there. Allegedly, that's what people are speculating. Isn't that crazy? And these issues with Michigan football, not necessarily NCAA related, but real life related. Of course, the most publicized, I guess the two most publicized, Jim Harbaugh and the sign stealing and the scouting and things like that, legal scouting of the opponent. And of course, Sharon Moore's embarrassing episode before he was removed. So it's amazing the power of blue bloods, though. Kyle Winningham, who is a terrific football coach, who was about done with it when he left Utah, could not resist to go take over. I mean, you talk about failing backwards. Michigan has failed every aspect of the PR or the respectable way of doing things. And yet here they are with a terrific coach and a chance to still have a good football season. But how many times have you heard us say it here? The fish rots from the head, and your departmental problems go to the people who are running the department. Ward Manuel was making 7 figures, had an ego the size of the Grand Canyon, and felt invincible, I guess. And that is not the case at all, as it turns out. So Michigan now is scrambling. I don't know who would want that job. I mean, obviously they're going to fill it. I don't know if they just promoted somebody from within. I wouldn't do that given the situation, because you have a new coach coming in, a very respected head football coach coming in. So I don't know what they do going forward, but man, oh man, it's ugly happenings there in Ann Arbor. And it's just strange. Someone asked this week, should the BDST fan question of the week, should it be, if you're, let's say, at Virginia Tech, would you trade a basketball national championship for all the scandals that are surrounding the program? That might not be a bad one. Peeps in chat coming through early here on a Monday, or on the professional door text line. It's a good question. I don't know how much integrity matters anymore in college athletics. I really don't. I think most people. What's up, Chicken Master? Jeremiah, please subscribe. I like Chicken Master. That's pretty cool. So I don't know. Doing well, man. Hope you are. You know, and I wouldn't even put a judgment. I don't watch a lot of UFC. I respect it, Jeremiah. But then you had the scam this past weekend with Conor McGregor. Everybody's speculating that was completely staged and planned from the get-go. That's the second straight one, right? You had the Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey situation that ended, 30 seconds in? They didn't even get started. Did Vegas retract those bets? I don't know. I think UFC needs to stick to the regular circuit and quit trying all these star-studded events. I don't think it needs it. It's not working. And they took another huge black eye this weekend. I'm more of a straight-up boxing fan. That's my game. What's up, Matthew? Good morning. Because I think it still matters. Just look at how the entire country has taken to rooting against Texas Tech because of how poorly they handled the Sorsby situation. And that's true. They completely, that athletic department, supporting, it's not even supporting a person. It's supporting what the person had done and gambling as adamantly as they did. And if the Big 12 had not stepped in, they were literally going to let him just miss a couple games and be back under center. Oh, Jeremiah, love Manny Pacquiao. And I know Virginia Tech's never won a national championship in anything, and I know it sounds like, boy, I would do that. But if you found out that James Franklin was involved in something, they won a title, and I don't know. I don't know how I don't think people would just kind of blindly just accept it, you know. But you're right about Texas Tech, man. They have really hurt themselves. And how do you look at Michigan? I mean, they're winning titles in the two major sports that matter the most. Favorite boxer is the Viking. Yeah, I'm not sure who that is. My favorite boxer of all time is Muhammad Ali. But Michigan, you know, now they fired their AD. It just continues to get worse and worse as they dive deep into that. And it's a tainted place. Where's all the people, you know, they were all these media people that graduated from Michigan that are so easy to boast, the Adam Schefters of the world who went very silent when all these things were happening, but were boasting about their success. Are you maybe going to cover what's going on there? You think they're just going to bury it? Yeah, they'll bury it. Yes, greatest technical fighter, I think, ever. There have been better punchers, Oh, that's cool, Jeremiah. You got to meet Mandy's coach. There have been better punchers, more powerful punchers, but the complete package, yeah, that's Muhammad Ali. From the Mamas and the Papas, great song, Monday, Monday. We're starting the week off on the right note. I hope so. I don't feel like I am. I feel like I'm feeling this Monday already. Here in BDST chat, we're making it a great week as we count down to Saturday Bash. Yep, we're going to be there. We're going to have a great time this weekend. So come see us on Saturday. I think Coach Elmo's coming. I don't know. I can't keep track of people. A lot of people that I've asked can't make it. Jen won't be there. You know, Keon lives a long way away. Dwight, I mean, you can't expect people to drive for a few hours. Chicken, my favorite sport's American football. I know that may sound like a typical answer from an American, but it's true. It's true. Greedy Roach, yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool, Jeremiah. And in boxing, you know, same thing happened to boxing. It got completely and utterly corrupt at every level. It's just insanity. So, and UFC's got to be careful. And I haven't heard, has anybody heard what happened to the betting lines? A lot of people were saying that the whole thing was tied to that. So I don't know what that means exactly. Unless something scrupulous. I mean, McGregor walks out there, plants on his knee, and then acts like he can't walk. Imagine the people that paid thousands of dollars for ringside seats. Right? But it's not a good look for UFC. Not a good look. People are saying, I don't know if it's true. They said he knew he was hurt beforehand. Is that accurate? I don't know. I don't know any NFL, but I like real football where you play with your feet. Well, but a good friend of mine's a huge NFL fan. Yeah, the cultural differences are always going to be there. I get it. But yeah, here in this country, it's going to be American football. And I know where you're from, obviously, it's the other kind of football. Football. Thanks, Chicken. Appreciate that, man. Hang around. Keep the sub and hang around whenever. Yeah, the Holland situation, he was very frustrated after one of his teammates was very selfish, didn't give him the ball on a breakaway. Norway lost. And he still went out afterwards and hung out with the fans. I thought that was really cool. So let me read this here. So Conor McGregor walked out of the arena immediately after his loss, straight into a waiting car. Dana White says they suspect that it's a torn ACL. He had a 5-year layoff, much hype and anticipation around his return, trying to re-spark his career. He did not do any post-fight media. He says, I did not have any injuries going into the fight. So there you go. And I think people probably, anything like that happens, if you've got money involved, people are immediately going to expect something scrupulous to happen. All right. Because he still got paid, I guess, because he fought 69 seconds. Yeah. So that's why I think the emotional part of the reaction was from people who lost money. And I get that. I'd be angry too. And if it's a straight up injury that happens, you know what? There's not much you can do about it. That's the last thing UFC needed. And I think, and you're right, Prometheus, there are a lot of drugs. Thanks, Chicken. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by. You're welcome anytime. There are a lot of drugs surrounding that sport in particular. It's everywhere, I know. But I think the use of performance-enhancing drugs are pretty strong. And when you're done with them, your body changes. And that could be a lot of what happened there. I concur. I concur. I mean, as much as I've liked his career, remember when Tiger Woods was, he looked different. And there were a lot of people saying that he was on some type of performance enhancing drug. I know you're a golfer. It sounds silly, but there were some times he didn't just look fit, man. He looked like he was just massive out there. And I don't know whether any of that's true. I just remember that speculation about Tiger. And it may or may not be accurate. I'm not sitting here saying that it's accurate. So the people on the professional or text line are saying, we've heard from about 6 people saying that in no way, shape, or form would we trade in our integrity for a national championship. Well, that's cool. That's good, Tech fan. Darren says, true, we have not won a national title, but I would not want to have one and then immediately have all this scrutiny surrounding our university and our reputation in our community. That's pretty cool. Yeah, if you're going to win it, can you just win it and not have all this stuff going on? Eric said it was long overdue to fire Manuel. I'm a Michigan fan. It's been an absolute joke what he has allowed to happen there. By the way, Sam Neill passed away. Dr. Grant from Jurassic Park, many other movies, I saw where he passed away through the night. That's very sad. Very sad. Not good. Not good. Rest in peace. He was good. I saw him in other things too. And I love the first Jurassic Park movie. Oh, by the way, a friend of mine said, hey, you want to go see Supergirl? So I went because I wasn't going to pay for the damn thing. And it is absolutely an atrocious film. An atrocious film. Hey, Jason Momoa, at least he's playing Jason Momoa as usual, as Lobo. My man. That's all he ever does. Congratulations to Raymond Ladd, Radford University pitcher who got drafted in the 14th round by the Reds yesterday. Very good to see. Very exciting. Yeah, but Sam Neill passed away. Yeah, very sad. Eric says, what did you think? Nonsensical plot, unlikable lead character. Billy Alcock was not a good Supergirl. That whole angst, why was she so angst-ridden? Didn't wear the costume. In no way represented what a hero's supposed to. They open up the movie with a dog taking a piss on the picture of Superman in a newspaper article. We know what James Gunn thinks of Superman. Terrible, terrible movie. Dumb plot. It was dark. Every scene looked brown. The villain was worthless. What was his? So you have this CGI crypto dog, right? That's based on James Gunn's real dog. And he shoots him with an arrow that's going to kill him in 3 days because, plot has to happen. Movie has to happen. He's the most worthless villain I've ever seen in my life. Just stupid. Just stupid. And the whole movie, the second movie they've done in the new DC universe centered around crypto. Because remember, Superman had Lex Luthor, who was the guy they had playing him in the first movie, had kidnapped him. Now he gets shot by an arrow, all because James Gunn loves his dog. Clearly, she's wearing the trench coat because he's a one-trick pony, right? He nailed it with Guardians of the Galaxy. James Gunn, I mean the director. Well, he wasn't the director of this one, but I heard that he took over the thing about halfway through is what they're saying from the actual director. So she's wearing the trench coat. She's anti-establishment. And the whole little sub-story with the younger girl, she wants to get revenge for her family being killed, but yet she gets a speech from Supergirl. Hey, don't take someone's life because you'll never recover. So then Supergirl goes out and kills the same person. It's just, you never once felt like anybody who made it wanted to be there. And the thing about it, it's not even her fault. She's not good in the role or in the movie, but it's the writing is so horrible. And then I looked up the script writer. It's a woman who has one credit. She's never written a movie in her life. She has one short story credit. And that's who they chose, James Gunn hired to write the script to this movie. It's going to lose $225 million. It's already being pulled out of over 1,100 theaters. It set the all-time low in a third weekend. It's a complete flop, and now I completely understand why. If I would have paid money to go see that thing, I would have been very angry. Hollywood is just a pile of crap. I just saw where the Moana remake is already bombing as well. Why did they remake that? The Rock wearing a wig and a bodysuit. Speaking of somebody on steroids, Prometheus, its body doesn't look the same. I spent a lot of time laughing at the movie. That was good. I had a good time making fun because you start realizing there's nothing tangible about it. And so you just start laughing at it. That's how bad it was. Now I know why it's completely bombed. Terrible. Just terrible. DC Universe is cooked. They got nothing. They got Clayface next. Who? Some random Batman villain. That's who. Oh, by the way, that same writer for Supergirl had been hired to write the Wonder Woman movie. You think they're going to stick with that? Is that even going to happen? I think Man of Tomorrow is next on their agenda. They've got this Lanterns show coming out. DOA. Terrible movie. Just terrible. More people on the text line saying, yeah, I would love a national championship. We would get rid of the people, at least Eric is honest, we would get rid of the people who contributed to the scandal. I would take the first natty being a football natty all day. Okay. Well, you know what? Your opinion is your opinion, man. I'm not going to. It's however you feel about it. It's the neighbor's dog you can probably hear in the background, by the way. Come see us, by the way, on Saturday over at the Super Bowl. We're going to start about 6. It's not going to be an all-nighter, but come by and hang out. Morris is coming up from Florida. Coach Elmo's coming in. You want to meet him? I'm going to ask Burnup again tomorrow. So come out and hang out with us. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be good to meet everybody. Yeah, I'm going to try to bowl. Yeah, people are asking you to bowl. Yeah. I'm not good at bowling, but I'll be bowling. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm some kind of, I'm not Bruce Weber, Earl Anthony coming in there. I roll the dreaded straight ball. I hate it. It's terrible. Never have been able to do the curve or the really cool like wrist flip, and then that thing does all this. But yeah, I'll do a little bit of bowling. I mean, that's why we're there, right? To hang out at the bash. I guess we'll have some lane. We have a room. We have food, beverages. All you have to do is just show up. Let me put the graphic back up so you look at that. There's the Big Dog Sports Talk Bash at the NRV Super Bowl for Saturday. There it is. See how much fun we're having? So much fun you'll have if you come to the bash. Thanks, Hazara. I work on it. The light makes it look like it's less there than actually is there, but thank you. I appreciate that. Roger says, you're so right about the villain in Supergirl. Why not just kill the dog? Because contrived, pointless plot had to happen. That's why. She only had 3 days, The dreaded slow-killing poison dart. And that's what it is. The script and the writing was just so bad. And that's usually the problem with these movies. And it looked terrible. It looked terrible. Yeah, it looked really bad. It was just brown. It was just dark. You didn't feel like you've been watching it. I mean, heroes are supposed to lift you up. They're supposed to do something heroic. And she made some speech that was so anti what a hero is supposed to be. The James Gunn, let's just drop in modern music into everything. The stupid song that he chose at the end in the fight scene. What the hell was that? I don't believe so. Somebody's asking, was there an end credit scene? I don't know. I didn't stay. We got the hell out of there. Wasn't interested in it. I don't think I've seen where there weren't any. But that movie is, it might lead to the end of James Gunn being in charge of that studio. That's the scuttlebutt. And I don't know what they do going forward. I really don't. Yep, we were all over it, Wayne. Wayne just can't get here when we start. He just can't. Sam Neill made that movie. I love the original Jurassic Park. I will always watch it. He wasn't in the second one. He was in the third one, which was kind of stupid. But at least he was in it. But I don't guess I realized he was almost 80, Sam Neill. Yep, almost 80 years old. But he was one of the good ones. He was one of the good ones. He was. There were 6 people in the studio, Mark. I mean, in the theater, 6. Yeah, boy. We were 2 of the 6. There were 4 other people in the studio, 6 counting us. On a Saturday. Yeah, Dead Calm. He was great in Dead Calm. Yep. Oh, was he really? Kid as son of the devil in Omen 3. Really? Okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. Love Jurassic Park. Some of it, obviously, if you really break it down, kind of silly, but really cool concept. We'll always watch. Always. But the rest of the franchise did not live up to the start that it got off to. I thought the first one with Chris Pratt was okay. It's not like a great movie, but it's watchable. And then the last one they did with Scarlett Johansson is terrible, just terrible. Yeah, they drug Harrison Ford back in, and then he got girl bossed completely out of the movie. Yeah, that was a complete flop. Disney is not good. Now, Toy Story is going to make money because it's Toy Story, but I've heard there's a lot of political things in that movie. Imagine that. But Disney does not make good movies for the most part anymore. They destroyed. How many franchises did they destroy? Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Marvel is dead. This Doomsday movie looks horrible. Brand New Day, the Spider-Man movie, which they get some credit for, is actually a Sony production. Sony owns the rights, the movie rights still to Spider-Man. They share them. They sign a deal mutually with Disney and the MCU. Oh, is he going to be in the new one? Is he really? Sam Neill's in that one? Oh, well, good. That'll make me want to see it even more. By the way, I saw the trailer. Thanks to Wayne. Godzilla -1. If you haven't seen the first one from the Japanese production, it is outstanding. Even people, my now wife being one, who scoffs at the whole monster movie genre. When we watched -0, I think that's what it was called, wasn't it? -0. She was like, wow, this is really good. I said, yeah, it's very well acted. It was terrific script, great writing. Imagine that. Telling a story instead of trying to, socially instruct people and virtue signal. How about that? Hollywood still believes their audiences are stupid. That's the problem. The scene where Newman dies. he gets all mouthy with whatever dinosaur it was in the rain, and then one distracts him, and then the other one pops up in the Jeep. And I thought it was always cool when the Barbasol can gets dropped out of the Jeep because it's got all the secret blood or whatever for the dinosaurs, the DNA that they were going to sell, and it gets lost underneath the mud. I wonder how much Barbasol paid for that, the shaving cream. But anyway, -1 looks really good too. Great trailer. They even understand how to do trailers. They don't show you too much. Now today, trailers basically show you the whole movie. You don't need to see it. Like I remember seeing for instance, in Supergirl. God, so bad. But when you saw the trailer, nothing new happens in the movie. You basically saw the whole thing in the last trailer. When you see the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, yeah, exactly. The jump in special effects, man, it was like, whoa. Yeah, that's a good comparison, Wayne. And, when we saw the making of the Star Wars, it was all just little models, right? It was just little tiny models the way they filmed it. They built little ships and all. It was really cool. Because that's movie making. That's right. It's George Lucas and his crew trying to create this new world and giving it all they got. Because guess what? They were just trying to tell a story and entertain, which I believe is the main function of pop culture and movies, is to try to entertain. Well, let's put it this way. That's the theory. It's not the main function now. Now it's a function to virtue signal, to get across whatever political leanings you have. And the Odyssey's running into a lot of scrutiny now, too, because of the casting choices from Christopher Nolan, who's the Babe Ruth right now in Hollywood of directing. He's the guy, right? He doesn't have failures. We'll see how this one does. The Greek people very angry. Sam Neill in the movie Irresistible with Emily Blunt. I wasn't a big Nicole Kidman guy. Still not. But Emily Blunt, yeah. Isn't Emily Blunt married to Jim from The Office? Isn't that right? Or am I just making that up? I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Getting more text on the professional text line about Supergirl. Eddie says, you're so right about Jason Momoa. He's just Jason Momoa. Yeah, he's not. He doesn't act. He just shows up in the makeup. They put him in there because they realized, I guess, they needed to. He's pointless in the movie, but hey, he looked like the comic book character. He's good casting for Lobo, if you know anything about Lobo. Hey, Jeremiah, welcome back. Your eyes start burning when you're watching Supergirl. It's so terrible. And I will say this about Millie Alcock. She was the actor playing Supergirl. Not a lot you can do with that script. How was that green lighted? This after Gunn said he's not going to make anything in his DC universe where the script is not just excellent. Yeah, I think you're just kind of throwing anything out there. I still want to know why. No, I really don't want to wear a diaper. I will probably at some point in my life. I wonder why. My question the whole time walking out is, okay, so I knew this going in. Why was Supergirl the second movie Why? Remember how the MCU set up theirs? Iron Man was an unexpected hit back in 2008, 2009. They rolled the dice. Robert Downey Jr., he was outstanding as Tony Stark. Then they had the next Hulk movie with Ed Norton. It was not great, but it was okay. And they had the post-credit scene and then they get into Thor, and they're showing you all the characters leading into the Avengers movie, which was spectacular. It was just spectacular. It was well plotted out before they allowed politics. Then they got worse and worse as they started to do these things that modern Hollywood does. And now they're desperately trying to recast Robert Downey. His character, of course, was idiotically killed in the Endgame, which is not a good movie. It ended the story, but it's not a good movie. And they bring him back as Dr. Doom here in Doomsday that comes out around Christmas. And they release the first poster art. And it does make you appreciate how good the movies were in the 80s and 90s. And I know there are movies that are trying to get points across and things like that, but they're kind of morals that most humans believe. Now it's just for a certain section of think. They want the echo chamber to appreciate their effort so they continue to get funding, so they continue to get that type of person. Yeah, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. It's not about entertainment anymore. The San Francisco 49ers, absolutely. In 2 weeks, David Smith, who is the best NFL analyst anywhere, will be talking about the NFC West, and we'll be breaking down the 49ers. 2010, there you go. So they've been married that long. John Krasinski, thank you. I could not think of his name. I used Jim from The Office. Morris has an insatiable attraction to Emily Blunt, apparently. Oh, by the way, before we get Coach Elmo on, I started watching Tulsa King. Big fan. I think I'm through the first 5 episodes of season 1. Extremely well done, and it's all about Sylvester Stallone, man. Well, welcome, Annabelle. Glad to have you. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. It is Sly being Sly, but he is such an underrated actor. And he has got that character down. I'm telling you, man. So you've all seen it. You guys were telling me about it. Who's going to be Brock Purdy's number 1 weapon? It's a good question. Didn't they bring in Mike Evans from the Bucs? Pretty sure. DeMarcus Robinson, I like him a lot. Christian Kirk's kind of a solid signing. Little slot guy, right? Ricky Pearsall. But Stallone is just magnificent actor. I do not think, I know people do, but he is one of the greatest of all time. And he wrote the Rocky screenplay. He couldn't get any work and created all of his success himself. And you see that role unfold, and he's magnificent. Dwight is a great character. They have a really good surrounding cast so far. So the episode that I just watched, and those of you, I'm not spoiling anything because I'm the one who's behind. You've all were telling me. I bet I had 24 people telling me I needed to watch Tulsa King. Many of you, and you were all correct. I like it so much more than Landman, which had a really bad season 2, in my opinion. Too early to tell, Jeremiah. We'll see. NFL, nobody usually breaks away from each other in that division. You got Seattle. The Rams, I think, are going to be the favorite. 100%. What's up, Watching Geek? Watching Geek. Never did figure out how they used those shells in Demolition Man. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Lindsey Graham passed away. And, of course, everybody on that side that hates what he represented, making just horrible comments. Said this before. This is where we are. It's ridiculous. When you're celebrating the decline of your political opponents when they die and you're using that as a way to celebrate, this country is lost. Don't get me started on politics this morning. It's unbelievable where we are and what's accepted. And when people are silent, that means they're okay with it. Right? They can say, well, I didn't say anything bad. Yeah, but you didn't say anything in protest of it either. You just kind of go, oh, okay. Well, I didn't agree with him, so it's fine. It's fine. One less guy we have to worry about. My side wins. Yay, America. 49ers need to have a big year, though, Jeremiah. I'm not sure. I mean, I know everybody loves Kyle Shanahan. But at some point, he needs to win Super Bowl, doesn't he? Is he going to do it in that division this year with the defending Super Bowl champions and then the Rams going out and doing what they did? Acquiring the best defensive player in the league? We'll see what David Smith has to say in 2 weeks. We're doing the NFC South coming up this Thursday, and then the NFC West afterwards, heading into training camp, which is getting here across the way. Yes, Kevin. Man, I tell you what, the Professional Door text line. By the way, Professional Door offering $40 off if you just call them up this month to set up a preventative maintenance visit. Tell them you heard us talk about on BDST 674-0008. Did I hear you say you predicted Tech's record? No, but I will in this Friday's Patriot column. Dun, 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 dun. Look, this is going to be one of those where I'm just literally going through it going, okay, this is what I know. Boom. Okay, this is what I think. It's completely irrelevant. I'll do one afterwards. But people are asking, so I'm going to do it. And I like Brock Purdy, Jeremiah. Keeping Kittle healthy, keeping people healthy is just the key to every NFL season. Wayne, that was just between me and you. Yeah, I have not started Dutton Ranch. See, I never watched any of Yellowstone. Do I have to watch Yellowstone to watch Dutton Ranch? Or can it be enjoyed separately? Because I don't want to go back and rewatch all that. It just seems like too much work. But I am joining the hell out of Tulsa King. Absolutely. I'm just hoping it doesn't decline as the seasons go on. Like, I did not like Landman Season 2. It became too much about the relationships instead of being a landman and Billy Bob Thornton. But I did predict as I was watching it with my wife that I said, you watch, Cammy's going to turn and fire or get rid of Billy Bob, Tommy. Yep. Sure enough, she fired him. But hey, he started his own company. Joining us now on the program, there's the LLC. He is Phil Elmassian, who's going to be holding court this Saturday at the Bash. What's going on, Coach? Good morning.
Rick, how are we doing?
We're doing all right. Talking a lot of entertainment this morning. Do you watch anything at all on TV? What do you watch?
Nothing. I'm not a baseball. I'm baseball, History Channel, a lot of anything that has to do with World War II and the Revolution.
That's the way my dad was. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I watch. I don't do any news. I don't. And listen, I lived 40 years of college football, which was, enough of a stress and strife, and I don't need anything else in my life for the rest of my life. I get 10 more years.
I understand. I understand.
Like I said, you always hear in politics, well, it's for the children. No, you know what? We let them figure it out.
Yeah.
We did.
Well, I got to ask you about, it's a program well, being in the Big Ten as long as you were. This Michigan situation now, they fired their AD. They win natties in both football and men's basketball, and boy, that looks great. But my, oh my, what is going on?
It's back in the Bo Schembechler, Lloyd Carr days, it was really the standard in terms of integrity. When you back in the day, if you lost a kid to Michigan, they didn't cheat. Well, I'm not saying they didn't, but Bo Schembechler didn't and Lloyd Carr didn't. I guarantee you that. When you lost a kid to Michigan, you lost them to Michigan. And boy, they owned, Lloyd Carr particularly owned Detroit. That's why, Nick left Michigan State, because he was just tired of being the redheaded stepchild. You are.
Yeah, you're right. I remember him saying that.
That's one of the reasons, one of five, that he left. And he had beaten him. When Michigan State beats Michigan, it is a huge, huge deal. Now you talk about a hateful rivalry. My brother went to Michigan State, and let me tell you, the Michigan crowd it's as obnoxious in terms of the wine and cheese crowd as it's the doctors, lawyers. It's and to see this happening is really sad. And you know what? When I was listening to you, I went on. Do you know this, Rick? This is amazing. Think about all the turmoil. And here it is, Michigan, the University of Michigan, losing their AD and their president. And you think in the last couple of years, how many ADs have either been fired or resigned in college because of college football?
Because that's a great way to say it. Yeah, you're right.
Because of. They're, again, as I've said at the beginning of all this conversation we've had, all these problems stem from, as they say, money is the root of the evil. Well, you got college presidents and commissioners, conference commissioners chasing TV money. And this is the byproduct of it's bitten them right in the ass. Because look at the ADs, all the ADs that have been fired or resigned. Do you not? Here's something I Googled. How accurate this is, I don't know. But from 24 to 26, there have been over 100 athletic directors have either been fired or resigned.
Wow.
In the NCAA.
Wow.
Over 100.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And it's all because of, most of it's probably stems from football or off-field relative situations too. That's a part of it, I'm sure. And then in the Big Ten, here's a stat. How true this is, I don't know, but this came off of AI and I Googled it as I was listening to you. I'm just curious because it's been a while. Of my 40 years, I don't remember all these ADs and presidents getting fired or resigning. I know Bill Lavery with the Bill Dooley deal, that caused an uproar administratively and a big changeover with the president, athletic director, and head football coach. But that was, you get one or two of those a year, or with maybe 2 years. Now they have 8 out of 18 presidents have resigned or been fired from the Big Ten universities. Just about half in the last, they said
wow.
Since 2025, the last 2 years. That's another. So, and guess what? Football, chasing the money. And
that crazy.
Bit him in the ass. It's not just head football coaches now. It's head football coach, athletic director, and president. All three. Look at Virginia Tech. I could go down to schools right now. Virginia Tech, Michigan, Cal, New Mexico, ODU, Syracuse. The list was endless of athletic directors that had resigned or been fired. That's, usually it was just, the endangered species was the head football coach and his staff. Now it's ADs, and it's fallen down to the presidents. You talk about the football domino. When it falls, man, it's taking everybody down.
That's true. It's a snowball that can't be stopped. You're right.
No.
You're right.
So, hey, I'll tell these ADs and presidents, welcome to my world.
That's right. That's right.
Good luck. I sent you that. I sent you the, I used to keep scrapbooks. I kept a lot of scrapbooks through a lot.
No, that was cool. Yeah, yeah.
But you saw the headlines. That was front page of the Roanoke Times.
That was cool.
That I cut out. Dooley sues school for $3.4 million. And
there you go. There you go. In case people didn't. Yeah, that's really cool. It looks backwards on the screen, I'm sure, but there you go.
Yeah, no, it's good. And players vowed to win 8 games, or next 8 games, and we did. Other than a loss to Temple, which was actually a forfeit because they played ineligibles players. So the players said, we're going to win the rest of the game. They love the guy. The players love the guy. They're pissed. And we won 8 straight games after that. And again, it's the domino, football went down. Lavery was resigned or fired, as I remembered. Dr. Lavery, president at the time, Bill Dooley, head football coach, AD. And that was rare. Now it's a given. You have no idea what's, and in the day too, even back in the day, when you won a national championship, one thing about the NCAA back in the day, because like when I was at Syracuse, when they were investigating Jim Boeheim in, I think, 1990, I know when I was up for my interview at Syracuse, the day of my interview, I go to Paul Pasqualoni's office, shared this with you or not. There's about 6 big, huge duffel bags all by his desk. I said, I'm just curious. I said, Paul, I said, you going someplace? You just got the job. He goes, no. He said, we got 6 football players that are on standby to play basketball for Syracuse, depend upon what the NCAA is going to rule them ineligible or not. They got a game, I don't know, wherever they were home, or it was an away game someplace, and there were 6 basketball players were potentially going to be suspended because of the NCAA. But my point being is this, Rick. Paul was telling me, he says, look, when the NCAA comes in for one sport, they don't just, back in the day, they don't make a one-stop shop. They go in and go all sports. They go out of your football records and your camps, and they go to football. If basketball is in trouble, suspected of improprieties, they go to football's going with it. If football's in trouble, basketball's going with it. That was back in the day. Now, they might as well shut the compliance office down because it's, there are no rules anymore. The NCAA's got 0 power. But that's college football today. Like I said, well, the athletic directors and the University of Presidents. Welcome to my world. Good luck.
Well, Wayne says, Coach, you talk about being fired all the time. Imagine being fired and then kept on the payroll. That's what Virginia Tech has done. Now you can say that Whit Babcock resigned all you want. He was encouraged to resign, or elsewhere he would not have agreed just to stay on in this other role. Still don't understand what that role is, right? But imagine if they would let you go and just say, "Hey, you're still going to get paid. We just don't want you here anymore." Yeah. You want to resign?
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how. And I'll tell you, don't ever feel sorry for a head coach or an athletic director getting fired. Don't ever feel sorry for them. Not no ounce. No sympathy, no empathy, nothing. Assistant coaches, you kidding me? Let me tell you, like at Purdue, the day Joe Tiller would decide to resign or get fired, our contracts were over.
Right.
That day. We had no contracts at Purdue. When we were at the Virginia Tech firing, we had contracts through June, but you saw that letter I got. If you took another job, they don't honor the contract.
Right.
You're done. So, you have, okay, so you're either going to sit out 6 months or try to take another job. Well, back in the day, man, you got to take another job, because you're talking about your health insurance, this, that, whatever with the families. But and that's why. And now some coordinators, most coordinators, if you're a D coordinator at Division I, it's not about the money. The money's one thing, but I was always, give me a 2-year rollover or a 3-year rollover.
Right.
And at least if I know they're not going to renew it, I knew I better get this thing done.
Makes
at
a lot
Nebraska,
of sense.
I had a 2-year rollover at Nebraska as an assistant coach, not even as a coordinator, because I wouldn't. That's what I told him. I said, if you want me, I want a 2-year rollover minimum. And so that, but assistant coaches today, it's tough duty for them, especially if you've got families, a house, and man, it's not pretty.
Yeah, or if you're former head coaches that's good friends with the new head coach, you need to get hired in another position the same year you're fired. Like Virginia Tech.
The first, I'm telling you, wow. It's funny. The times that, like I said, the 2 times I got fired, I just, not that I deserved it, but, when you tell the head coach to stick it where the sun don't shine, it's going to happen, at the end of the season. And people say, do you regret it? Oh, hell no, I'd do it again with great enthusiasm. That's what I tell them, even more than I had at that time. Because it's not a matter of right or wrong, but it's just there comes a point in time you slap a dog enough, it's going to bite back. And it was one was for discipline situations, and the other was for ignorance in the game of football. And but then, but you move what you try. I always tell people firing was an opportunity to get a better job. Just go stay involved, stay with football. If you've done a good job, if you've left the place that you were at, whether you got fired or not, and it was better off, before you got there, then you'll have a job. I was never without a job, never. But as you get past the 60 stage, that phone stops ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
It's a young man's game.
Yep. Right.
They were.
Right.
I just had a buddy of mine call me last night. Matter of fact, he wants to come on the show. A guy named Matt Sheldon. Matt Sheldon was my GA at Wisconsin.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's get him on. That'd be great.
You love this guy. What he's done, he's had a 20-plus year career so far, 25-plus in analytics. He is the analytic guy with the Dolphins, the Bears, I'm trying to think of all the teams he's been with, the Raiders. He's just with the Raiders, and it's a unique position. But when you hear about, during a game and there's 2 minutes to go, or all the situations you go through, they've done all those 10-year studies, and you're playing the percentages of decisions you have to make. Well, he's the guy. He's the guy that he's like a walking IBM computer. He's a human IBM computer. He really is. And like one thing he did for me that I was just loved it. It was so good. When we transitioned from Wisconsin from 97 to 98 year. We won 8 games the 97 year. And we lost three guys out of the secondary. I had 2 redshirt freshmen, a walk-on, a couple of safeties returning, but we had 2 redshirt freshmen and another another freshman, the redshirt sophomore. We had to revamp the whole secondary. So Matt came up with this. I still have it today. Tremendous probing. Okay, ranking by positions and, freshmen coming in. I mean, it was just these tremendous, questions of your personnel that he came up with to all come back to one thing, and that's the decision of who you're going to play, who's going to start, where's your depth chart, how are you going to create your who's your first team, who's your second, who's your number 1 corner, number 2 corner, 3 corner, 4 corner. And it was just the probing questions that he came up with. I still have it today. It was about a 3-page deal. And it was an exercise in personnel that I'll give a lot of credit to him. He was dead on, because the next year we had the best secondary. We had the best secondary in the Big Ten nationally, by decision. And we beat, like I said, it wasn't like we were beating Michigan and Ohio State. For the kids that we had was Wisconsin. Matter of fact, we had 1 corner. We beat Youngstown State. That's who we beat. Mike Eccles. Kent State rejected him. But, he was 3.5 student, good mom and dad, great kid, ended up being a 4th-round draft choice for the Tennessee Titans, and started as a redshirt freshman kid that, he was like, at that time, only Big Ten school was Wisconsin, who offered him from Ohio, from the state of Ohio. And then Jamar Fletcher, he got a Missouri offer, but that was it. That was it. Nobody else. Quarterback. He ended up being the Thorpe Award winner. He was first-team All-American, first-round draft choice. And, with the help of Matt, we were able to figure these kids out and have a projection. And he was spot on with every one of them. By the time 2 years later, all 4 starting defensive backs played in the NFL. And they weren't getting drafted in the Army coming out of high school. But hey, you can say, oh, that's self-serving. No, it's not self-serving. This is why we scholarship. And we saw these things in these kids coming out of high school. We saw the potentials that they had in projecting the positions, because Mike Eccles was a receiver. Jamar Fletcher was a quarterback / safety. Jason Doring was a walk-on for us who ended up playing 6 years in the NFL I think he was a 7th-round draft choice or a free agent. And a guy named Bobby Myers from Connecticut, who was, he broke his leg his senior year, didn't get it, but he was a 6'10" high jumper. He was like a Big Ten champion high jumper. So, there was talent, but you got to overturn the rocks. And so the guy named Matt Sheldon, he's I think you'd really enjoy.
Yeah, let's get him on. Sure.
If you want to talk about, analytics there's a fine line between, what's going to be useful and what, hey, let go with your guts in terms of the game and the basis of the game. You got to have the combination of both, because, analytics, I think you can lean on them to the point where you can lose a game too. Because the human element's still a big part of it.
Yeah,
I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah. Let's
what he told me?
That'd be a fun conversation. Yeah.
I think you'd enjoy that. You know what he told me last night? He said the NFL is investing heavily in this flag football.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Heavily. He said there's going to be 16 games a year, apparently. I don't know if this is passed. I think he had the number 16. I don't know. I may be off on the number. Games that are going to be played over outside the United States. Gone from like 8, the ridiculous number of, a low number, 2 or 3 times a year to almost up to 16 teams are going to be involved. I get teams, not necessarily games, but teams are going to be involved playing. And the other thing, and he told me this, he said, the NFL, they're trying to increase, the flag football because of the women's playing in flag football. So now you have more eyeballs.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, and then you have and then they're selling it where an NFL player can be on the Olympic team, and on and on and on. So this is another revenue, selling jerseys, selling any way to make money outside of the United States, and they're doing it with flag football. It's going to be a huge deal.
It's all over the universities too, Coach. Because of the NFL, we're getting it at Radford in a few years. It's everywhere. It's starting to show up. We're developing a
fastest growing high school. Matt was telling me it's the fastest growing of high school sports right now because you're involving men and women.
Interesting. It's wild. It's why ours is going to be strictly women, but yeah.
But you got both. You got both. Yep. Both will have leagues and teams.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. They'll become. The NFL is going to get to the point where it's going to be professional.
And they'll be betting on that too. They'll be wagering.
It's like anything else, Rick. It's it's all about the money. I mean, here's another figure to think about this, Rick. You talk about, with my conference. First of all, one thing. Remember, I made the statement. I made the statement to you. I hate it when I'm right. But as soon as that Sorsby betting thing came down, and you and I were I was on the show, and I made the statement. I said, "No way will the NFL touch you. No way."
Yeah.
The day it came out, and people, and that everybody assumed that, and he did too, and his attorney on the NFL. I'm going to take this kid. He's too good. No, what? Not gambling. If he had a drug problem, if he had a drug problem, he had a better chance with a drug problem.
Oh, no question. Yeah.
I told you this. Nothing splinters. Texas Tech is so lucky he did not play.
I still can't believe that administration.
And they win. If he had played, Rick, and they win 5 games, that domino's going down. President, AD, head football coach, they're done. They'd be done.
I still don't understand how they supported that. They all should be done anyway. How could they have come out and supported
Well, that's another issue. They dodged a bullet.
I don't understand.
And let me tell you, the shrapnel still may occur. If they win 4 games next year, it still could happen. That shrapnel from that gambling still could be a hangover for their cause to be fired because they did support it. That's still they better win next year.
And I'm pretty sure they said they're still going to pay him.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Yeah. Well, so he can gamble. Come on, Rick. No, it's but here's the one thing, as I mentioned to you, like I said, the next 5 or 6 years in college football, it's starting now. Starts now. It's not going to happen in 2:30. It's starting now. It's here's one thing my buddy told me this because we were talking about it last night, where how the NFL, you talk about, they got college football as their farm team and they don't invest 1 penny in it.
That's right.
One. Okay, you talk about they don't have to spend a penny on their farm team.
That's right.
Okay, how about that money maker?
Yeah.
And next thing, obviously, is the TV contracts. The NFL in 2025, between Fox, CBS, all Amazon, YouTube, $111 billion. $111 billion in TV revenue. Just TV.
Just TV. Right.
Just TV. I don't even talk about jerseys and attendance, just TV revenue alone. You know what college football did? 72 million. You see how far behind college football is in the NFL? The point I was making.
It's true. It's very true.
So it ain't even close. So again, here's the TV people. They got college football, which is as That's popular, way more popular than the NBA in terms of eyeballs. I think I'm correct on that.
Correct.
And they're not way more popular than baseball, and they're not far behind the NFL in terms of popularity.
Right.
I think I'm correct on that at this point in time. You know, with the legalized gambling and the college playoffs, this thing's exploding. And so the bottom line is, you know, when these people, it's going to be crazy. How can the SEC, the Big Ten, or the ACC and the Big 12, how can they improve their brand so when they go into negotiations, because they're not even scratched the surface compared to the NFL.
I don't think the ACC and the Big 12 can do anything. It'll just cross their fingers until they finally get poached, and then they're
yeah. And don't forget now, ESPN. If the ACC gets poached, ESPN gets hurt. So it is going to be a fine line game in here of jockeying. It's going to be so much jockeying. It'll put horse racing on the back burner. There's so much jockeying for this positions of negotiating from a position of strength. Being, you know, you can either do it with conference realignment to try to enhance your conference and your contract money, okay, or the playoffs. Now, I don't know what else. I'm sure, you know, what else can the SEC or the Big Ten or the AC, any of these conferences, what else can they negotiate with to say, hey, 72 million, we want 100 billion. We want 100 million. Let's give us 25 million more, or because the NFL's got 111 billion with a B.
With a B.
Okay, you know. Can college football ever get to the B word? Right now, they're at the M word. So, you know, how can they chip away? Because all these television contracts, they got college football on the cheap. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be the interesting, how these commissioners, you talk about earning their salaries, and these presidents and commissioners in the next 4 years. And I think conference realignment is one of 5 ways they're going to try to increase their revenue with TV.
Yeah, I agree.
And however that plays out, you know, don't care. And it doesn't matter about the brand. What can you bring to the conference so we can now get an increase from the TV contracts? Can you carry that for us? Are you going to carry that lunch pail for us if you come into this conference? Because if you're not, we're not going to, well, what the hell? So, you know, whoever that is, Virginia Tech, right, you know, it doesn't matter. That's one of the negotiating ways, I think. And that's why you're going to have realignment, and you're going to have a 24-game playoff.
Yeah. I think Prometheus is right too. The NFL, the world view of the NFL because of the billions has brought the game down. In other words, it doesn't take the heart and soul, the American view of the NFL. It's now trying to influence the NFL with the entire world's view of the NFL, which I think is a big reason why the product is, I think, in my opinion, has gotten worse and worse.
Yeah, well, they're trying to create some more revenue with the.
Oh, that's all that matters. Yeah, it's the only thing that matters to them.
Money is the money. You know, the game. You know, I think the game. You know, it's a little bit diminished to a point, but it's too many. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now. You know, they don't even have any contact in practices. They literally don't. These guys are as healthy as they've ever been. They all got personal trainers who creating their own meals, personal meals, and things of that nature, especially in the off season. And they're playing up until they're in their 30s. Like look at the NFL back in the day. He had a 10-year career, was great. You know, whether it was Jim Brown or 10 or 12, that was a magic number for a lot of those great NFL players. You know, whether it was Dick Butkus or, you know, all the greatest players that ever played the game, you're looking at a 10 to 12-year career. When now that's going to 15 plus. But the numbers of games and the time in between and recovery, playing on a Monday night, then come back and, playing on Sunday. Well, I mean, that's to me is because what's happened in the game, when you don't get that body enough for contact, but they're playing so many games that they can't practice. They can't have physical practices. They cannot. 18 games, my God.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah.
Most I've ever been involved with was in Nebraska because we played 12 games. Then we had the conference championship against Oklahoma and then the bowl. So that was, 14 was the most I've ever coached in one season. And now you make the playoff. You're catching up to an NFL season. And it diminishes the game. I think that in itself.
Yeah, agreed.
The physicality of the game, particularly. You look at the tackling and you look at the, as well trained as they are and as healthy as they are, the injuries, I look at these people getting hurt. And I mean, because the more you play, when they added the 12th game to the NCAA, I said, oh, great. It gives us another game a kid could get hurt, another week of practice, and another reason to fire a coach when they added the 12th game. I said, this is going to be a disaster. I hated that when they added the 12th game. But that's.
I want to ask you about Clemson because people in chat are talking about how Clemson needs to come back. And can Dabo Swinney be that guy? As much as he's fought the evolution of the portal, he still talks negatively about it all the time. He had to be convinced to do that by the people who are really running the program outside the program. He's in the middle of a deal. I think it pays him around $12, $13 million a year after incentives. Do you think Clemson can come back with Dabo as the head coach, or do they need to kind of reset things and go to Brent Venables and say, hey, you're at Oklahoma. Would you like to come back here and be the head coach? What do you think?
I think Brent Venables, I'd be shocked if in a private meeting that Dabo wouldn't concur with this. Wouldn't say it publicly, but privately, I think he'd at least acknowledge that, yeah, at Oklahoma, Clemson, he was a difference maker as a defensive coordinator. Now he hired Chad Morris, his daddy, the old man, to come back as offensive coordinator. But the problem is he won national championships with two great college quarterbacks.
Yes.
And when he brought what's his name in from Oklahoma, they played great defense, and they went national in recruiting. And now they own Charlotte. Clemson owns Charlotte. Charlotte's one of the best football areas, like the Tidewater kind of in both states. So now north and south, Clemson owns Charlotte in recruiting. You weren't beating them. And so, it should be done. The one thing about the ACC is, there's a reason why if James Franklin, would he have taken the Florida State job? Oh, hell yeah. The ACC is a whole lot softer landing pad. Okay. Carolina, are you expected to win a national championship at Carolina? Do they want to? Are you expected?
No.
As opposed to Alabama?
No, 100%.
Or State? Oh, no. Now, Virginia Tech wants to get in the national championship hunt. Is the expectation to win the national championship? Now, I've been a part of that at Ferrum Junior College. We were expected to win the national championship every year. I know it's junior college, but let me tell you, football, with that between the stripes, it is a whole different ball game when you're expected to win it. You're expected to win the national championship. And so you look at all the ACC teams, if any one of them get into the playoff, whether it's Clemson gets back in the playoff, then that's a big run for them. But their expectation at Clemson and Florida State is to win a national championship because they have. anytime you've done it, that's your expectation. Now, Virginia Tech played in it. So, as opposed to a UVA or a Duke or a Wake, even though it was 30 plus years ago or how many years ago it was, they played in it. So they got a taste of it. Look what it did to Blacksburg and Christiansburg. It changed everything, changed the whole university, everything changed for the better. Admissions, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, the Clemson expectation is to get into that Final Four. And same with Florida State. And it's failed miserably. So can they? Well, they should be. Let's put
you would think. Right.
They should be. But you look at both universities and you look at the quarterbacks in the last 2 to 3 years, been horrendous. And their defenses, when Florida State went 13-0, they had a great defense. That Jared Verse was a big factor. Jared Verse was like what Cornell Brown was to us. He infected that football team. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt that kid infected the football team as a portal kid from Albany State. And then you had the great quarterback. The kid was a winner, 13-0. He was a winner. Okay? They still won the championship game without him, and then they get denied.
They got kicked out. Yeah.
And they've never recovered since because the last 2 portal quarterbacks have been dismal failures. The Klubnik kid for Clemson, he's a guy.
Yeah, he's just a guy. Yeah.
He's not now. Could he be a better quarterback? Yeah, maybe Matt Mock was to Nick Saban at LSU. Nick won national championships with not his best talents at quarterback. He won it with guys that was probably the 3rd best quarterback talent-wise or 2nd best quarterbacks, both even at Alabama, early years of Alabama, and at LSU for sure. I know that for a fact at LSU.
You think Klubnik can break through? I know the Jets took him in the 4th round. You think Klubnik can break through at all? Or is that just like, hey, here's a guy
roster guy. Yeah, he could get.
Yeah, you think he can make it on? Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yeah, he'll make the roster. Maybe make the roster. But hey, it's like anything else. What do you do with Clemson? All of a sudden, he's going to be an NFL guy.
I know. I'm not sure they can come back under Dabo. I think I don't think his heart's in it. It kind of reminds me of the couple years Sean McVay kind of was like doing it and didn't really know if he wanted to keep doing it out for the Rams. And then when he got refocused again, the Rams are back to being that team. I don't know if Dabo.
See, I'm with you on that. I wouldn't bet on him.
I wouldn't bet on him. I know. No, I don't.
I'm not betting on him. I think right now, I'd bet on Florida State before I bet on Clemson, and I'm not betting on either one of them.
I like Virginia Tech's progression ladder the next 2 to 3 years more than Clemson's. Does that sound crazy to say? I honestly think that's true, right?
New sheriff in town.
I just think Clemson's just right here.
Yeah. And they're 7 wins, Rick. 7 wins in the ACC.
Yeah.
They've turned the clock back to Terry Bowden. Not Terry, but the other Bowden. But it's a regional school now. It's not a national school. It's a regional school. What Coach Franklin's done at Virginia Tech has turned it into a national school. See, that's the key. The first statement Coach Saban made at LSU back in the day in the SEC, here's how he changed the SEC and SEC football as a whole. Everything was the only 2 schools that were recruiting nationally in the 80s and 90s, because I went against them in Chicago, was Tennessee and Florida. And they had the best talents in the SEC. Tennessee was a national recruiting brand in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and so was Florida. The first statement, and they had the best talent. They were playing for the SEC championships and won national championships. When Nick got to LSU, the first thing he said, we're going national. Now, we're going to. Right. Anybody we lose in the state is because we did not want them or we didn't have enough scholarships.
Right, yeah. We
choose.
Get them.
Yeah. They're not leaving the state.
Yep.
Bobby Bowden came in and got the two greatest players that he's had in Florida State's program, the running Warwick Dunn, Peter Warwick and Warwick Dunn, out of Catholic High in Baton Rouge, 10 minutes from the LSU campus.
Right.
10 minutes. Bobby Bowden. And they were coming in Michigan, going to New Orleans, Nebraska. People were leaving. And Jerry DiNardo was left with great talent, but poor character. And that bit him in the ass. So Nick flipped all that around, changed the academic, first thing he put up was an academic building for the credibility, okay, to go national. Because even at that time, like I said, I signed Andrew Whitworth, and he was a valedictorian in high school, or had the credentials to be one. And we signed great students that were great players, especially in the offensive line, especially. Marcus Spears was an excellent student. Michael Clayton was an excellent student, in that class. My point being is but here's the thing. In order to win a national championship, you got to have your 300-mile footprint secured to get 65% of your playing roster and go national, whether it's especially for a quarterback more than anything else, or offensive line, or the great wide receiver, the big play receiver guy that can turn a program around. You got to go look at Ohio State, they're national. Michigan, national. Alabama is now national. LSU is national because of Nick. The SEC's turned into national programs because of Nick. Because you look at the talent level at LSU in his tenure that carried over to Miles, taking the program over. Tennessee and Florida, it was two ships passing in the night, especially Tennessee. Tennessee went from the best SEC talent in Florida to here goes LSU, and they just flopped. Now LSU's got the best talent. And he did it at Alabama, too, because he went national, especially for the quarterback. So in order for Clemson to get back in that national hunt, they got to go national. And you better get the right guy. Back in the day, because that kid still, that home thing, let me tell you, getting your homegrown kid is so important, because let me tell you, their mom and dad, girlfriend, they'll have about 20, 25, and they're going to play a little harder in that stadium. And I don't think that's, Rick, you Pulaski High School. What's the difference? When you played at home, are you kidding me? You played a little bit harder. And especially when that girlfriend's sitting in the stands, I've always said this, I would always tell the players, you get your ass kicked in this game, she ain't going to want to have no part of your ass after this game.
Well, mine was on the sideline cheerleading, so,
Yeah, but guess what? If you were getting your ass kicked, she weren't cheering for you anymore.
I don't see any pom-poms after that game.
Hell no. Hell no. Are you kidding me? So you still, Coach Franklin's doing. He's going that, gets a quarterback from California. Here's a perfect example. When was the last time Virginia Tech could go to California and sign a really good quarterback? When's the last time they could do that?
Yeah. Well, you're right. And we'll probably have you on again Friday, Coach. I'm giving you a heads up now. I'm probably going to need you on Friday if you're around Friday. So.
Oh yeah. Hey, Rick, I'm like the golden retriever you've always wanted.
And people get to meet you on Saturday at the Bash. So we're excited about that.
I'm looking forward to that. By the way, I'm in Radford right now at the Highlander.
Are you really?
I come up yesterday to go fishing. I was down by the river, and man, those storms follow the river. And I was right on the fringe, and it was dark, and I said, I'm out of here. And I'm looking out the window today. I went on the map. There's no rain. It's right. I know we needed the rain here. Needed the rain, but this thing's just sitting right over Pulaski County.
Yeah, right now. Yeah,
right now, and it's going to get So I'm pissed. I'm going to go fishing because I'm going to that Hockey Club.
That's right.
Fundraiser that I got invited to go to. So We'll be
All
doing
right.
that.
Yeah, you have to let us know how that goes. Yeah.
But I'll let you know about my guy, Matt Sheldon. I think you'd enjoy that.
Yeah,
The
please
guys in
do.
chat
Mention to Franklin he needs to come on the show. Tell him I'm the guy that interviewed him over at the Blacksburg Sports Club.
I will. I will. I don't know how. We sat at the front table. I think.
I know you did. Yeah, I know you did.
I don't know about this time. Who knows?
Yeah.
But Chuck Baker's a big sponsor of
Yep.
Haley Toyota is a huge sponsor of this deal for them. So
yeah.
I think he's going to be at the front. Brian Steinsman is going to be there too.
Good. Awesome.
So
awesome.
Myself and Steiny. So I'll give you a report by Friday.
Yeah, have fun.
Sold out. You're going to have over 600, 700 people there.
Well, have fun, man. Have fun.
Well, tell Todd I said hello.
I will.
I'm trying to catch that big smallmouth in the New River for him, but I don't know. I think that sucker's still going to be here. I don't know.
I will.
I don't mind the rain. I got a problem with the lightning.
I understand. I'll pass it along to you, Coach.
All right, buddy.
All right, brother. Have fun tonight, man.
That was fun. Cool.
Tell everybody Rick said hey, okay?
I'll do it.
All right, man. Take care. Coach Elmo here on the program. Great stuff. Yeah, he's in town. That's cool. He's down in Radford. You should come by Dedmond today. You should hang out. Don't forget, by the way, you should hang out at Professional Door in July. Call 674-0008 and talk to Travis Williams and his crew about $40 off your visit to come and get preventative maintenance. All you have to do is mention during the month of July that you heard us talking about it here on the show. They're celebrating 40 years in business with $40 off right off the top, and that's going to cut into the bill considerably. Reach out 674-0008 to Professional Door Incorporated in Dublin. Do it now. Do it. All right, do it. ReadySetFund.com. Bob Chris. It's a wonderful program. BOBCRST11@gmail. Read up on it, and I'm sold. ReadySetFund.com. Go read up on it yourself. Series of text messages. And you can have the money you need for your organization if you're trying to raise money for a group of kids or sports team in a week. Talk to the Floyd County Girls Program. Sundown Electric's down in Elliston. The Smith brothers continuing their father's business. 5-star business reviews. Honest and integrity is always the key. They keep the cost down low as well. We just talked about the bash. We're going to be at the Super Bowl on Saturday. Come see us, 540-382-5525. We're going to have a really good time at the bash as people like the bash logo. Boom, there it is. Look how happy Balboa is. Look at him. He's had a few too many catnips in that logo, don't you think? 6 o'clock, we get underway with Morris and the crew at the Super Bowl. Yeah. It'll be a lot of fun. Going to be a heck of a lot of fun. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me. I've been doing them 35 years and this program. Reach out to them. Thanks to Larry Ramsey. What's our BDST fan question of the week going to be? Brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning. Got to have a question by tomorrow. Peeps, you've been good. Let's go. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Let them come and, speaking of getting your units just checked out, reach out to those folks. Pulaski County Sports Entertainment. I was there with Jonathan Sweet at the Sportsplex. Our video has gotten several hundred views. If you saw just the main building, I was blown away. Congratulations to what Jonathan and Tim and that crew's building. It is going to be an all-timer. National attraction. They've already got national sponsorship. It's so wonderful what they have done. And so, yes, Pulaski County can have, why not Pulaski County? And it's going to be open for every area, every community. The events they're going to bring in there, the types of events, what it's going to mean for the community to come work out and train. It is unbelievable. Give James Lawson a call. He's going to be at the Bash, I understand, since 1997. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Parts for windows, plumbing, installments, you name it. They've got it for you at Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. McClellan Chiropractic Live. They are outstanding. Mark Hunley, I was over there. What's up, Willie? How are you? And what is up, Dallas? I told you I'd give you a shout out, Dallas. Welcome. Please subscribe, y'all. But you don't want to miss McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hunley. The diagnostics are amazing. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here in Reiner, 540-200-8294. And they have completely grown. They are going nuts. I'd like to think we're a small part of that success here on the program. Great, great stuff. Yeah, tell Amy about 20. Yeah, I think that's safe. I think that's safe. We hope people can come in and have a great time. You're welcome. Just when you come in, just say, I'm here for the BDST bash, and you'll probably hear Coach Elmo. Who wins more games this year, Penn State or Virginia Tech? That's not bad at all. Well, it's going to be skewed because Tech fans are going to say Virginia Tech. That's the only problem. It's going to be 98% Virginia Tech. Yeah, that's right, Tebow. They do. They bring back the best offensive line in the conference, and they bring back a terrific defensive front. Coach Elmo's talked about it. Todd Grantham's talked about it. And when you have those two things in place, man, that's a hell of a way to start your football team. And again, they do it very quietly. Nobody hears a word out of Tony Elliott or his program. They're coming off a record-setting year. Have they reloaded? Is this the MO that he likes to use? I didn't hear anything about his acquisitions last year. And now I watched them play the first couple of games, and I'm like, wow, you can see that talent increase. Or is it a situation where they're unsure, so they don't go around publicizing it? I think it's the former, not the latter. But when you're right, Tebow, and they have an unbelievable offensive line coming back. And I'm telling you, if we were talking about Virginia Tech in the same manner, everybody would have the right to be, well, you have the right anyway, it's your opinion. But I'm just saying, if you knew you had an NFL, I mean, if you had an offensive line that has some guys ready for the NFL like Virginia does, you would be ecstatic over the moon right now. But what do we talk about whenever we talk about Virginia Tech right now? I know Coach Moore's building up his guys, and they say they have all this depth, but let's see it. Let's see it. Yeah, that's right, Tebow. What was the kid's name? Prabula? They're saying he's much better than the kid they had last year. Much, much, much better. And I think he is. So don't sleep on the Cavaliers, man. Don't sleep on the Cavaliers. Now, I'm not a Virginia fan per se, but I have a lot of respect for Tony Elliott. If nothing else, the way that man got that program through the shootings, you tip your hat to that guy. And here, just a couple years later, they're coming off their best season ever. I mean, that is one hell of a turnaround. He doesn't get flowers. Nobody talks about Tony Elliott at all. I don't understand. And he has to continue it. Right? If they go back to a 4-win season this year, 5 wins, then last year was an anomaly. But if they do it again, hey, Greyhawk, how are you doing? Yeah, Penn State does not have to play Ohio State, Indiana, or Oregon. Correct. Isn't it crazy the way the schedule works out? Like, you should not have a program like Penn State miss all 3 of those teams. Now, granted, Indiana was not who they are when this whole rotational thing was put in, but yeah. And Virginia's schedule's not that daunting either in the conference. But there's no doubt that Tony Elliott's doing a good job, and it's what Coach Elmo says. He kept his staff. Morris, ACC championship and college playoff berth. Otherwise, I'm out. Yep, you've maintained that, Morris. Moving to Charlottesville, get the White Fit Council. What is always so great, I know it's frustrating for fans, but great as well, is the start of every season, you have no idea how things are going to play out. Nobody had Duke and Virginia playing in the ACC title game. Nobody had Wake Forest beating the Washington State coach. They won 9 games. They won a freaking bowl game. And that's what's so great about it. This time of year, I know we're frustrated we don't have the games yet, but it's exciting times. And I think that'll be encapsulated this week during the ACC kickoff. I think today is the day they dedicate to Virginia Tech, so you'll see a lot of highlights if you're sitting around and you want to watch that. I don't know the timing on any of that stuff. I don't watch media day activity. But, that'll be cool for people if you want to watch something. They'll have Franklin on there quite a bit. But Coach Elmo will be there on Saturday, 6 o'clock at the Super Bowl. Coach Grantham going to join us here momentarily. Sending his invite now. There we go. Who wins the AFC West? That's not a bad question. When the Raiders arrive, and I think they're going to, that division, not only do I love Mendoza as a professional prospect, I think Clint Kubiak is going to be, unfortunately for me as a Broncos fan, is going to be an outstanding head coach. I think he's got a chance to be the next Sean McVay type of coach. I really do. Could be wrong. And I frequently am wrong, but it is what it is. Joining us now on the program is that gentleman, defensive coordinator of the UAB Blazers. Oh, you see that smile. I know he's still on vacay there, but that smile means he knows it's getting close. It's almost time for football.
It's getting there, man. We got a couple more weeks left, so it's all good. I got a few things to work on, this week and next week, just spot do it and everything. But it's going to go fast. It always does go fast. So a couple more weeks and then we'll be rolling. So it's good. I had a couple of my players call me last night and just chopping it up with them. They're working hard, doing a good job. I like their leadership. So anyway, they our media days, I think not this week, but the following week. So anyway, a couple of those guys be going to that.
I was going to ask you about how often players communicate with you right now during this time like that. That's got to be encouraging, right? When guys,
it's good. I mean, I have a group text with all the different positions, right? So, like, for example, if I see an example of a good pass rush or something like that, I might put it on the group chat for my guys to watch. Or if I see something funny, I mean, we'll intervene a little bit and talk about it and just keep it going, keep it live with them. So I kind of do that with them and, just communicate with them as best you can right now and give them some space to work. Because right now we're really focused a little bit more on conditioning. So that way, as we get into the season, now they're still doing football. It's just that we've kind of flipped the script. In June, we did a little more football than, say, conditioning per se. And then this month, the month of July, we're hitting the conditioning aspect of it a little bit harder. So that way, come August 2nd, when we report that they'll be ready, but they're still doing football and it's player led and it's going good. So I like where we are.
Now you have so many ties still, Coach, with the NFL. Are there certain guys that you really are fans of, head coaches in the NFL, that not necessarily that you watch all the time, but you kind of like what they bring to the table? And you look at,
Mike McDonald was my GA. I actually hired him. I mean, he was a GA for me, Mike McDonald. So we still talk. And, there's things that they do now that actually we did back when we were together at Georgia.
That's cool.
I'll talk to him a little bit. So I like him. And then Brandon Staley, when COVID hit, Staley and I did quite a few Zoom calls together. I was kind of interested in the front that he had, which is, people call it penny now. It kind of came about during the COVID era. And then he was kind of interested in what I did from a package pressure standpoint, like how you packaged, so many pressures to keep it simple for the players. So we kind of went over that. So I kind of root for him. And then honestly, the guy at Dallas, he and I, like Schottenheimer, I like him a lot. He was at Georgia at one time, and he was with the Jets when they had Chad Pennington, and they were the first team in the National Football League to actually go turbo or fast. And it wasn't really, you weren't really equipped for it. And I was with the Browns, and we played them one year, and we ended up beating them. But like the first 15 plays, because everybody's got a script, and it doesn't matter. Like they're gonna run their script plays, so it's like speed dial, man. They're calling them, and that was my first exposure to tempo and that kind of stuff. And anyway, I got a lot of respect for what he does and everything. So I kind of root more for people than teams, just because of my relationship with them. I got a lot of respect for Andy Reid. I've talked to him a couple times and visited with him on some guys and things like that. So I got some respect for him and what they do defensively. So it's more about people for me than say a team.
How important was it for the Raiders to do what they did with a guy like Clint Kubiak coming in, who has that offensive background, pairing them up with the guy that at some point, whether it's this year, midway through the year, maybe he starts the year, I don't know, they brought in Cousins. How important is it to have that relationship right off the bat for a rookie quarterback nowadays?
Yeah, Clint and I worked together in New Orleans.
That's right.
And he's such a great guy, man. I mean, to be honest with you, we talked a little bit of football, but we always talked fishing. because we sat next to each other in the staff meeting, and we'd be talking. Like his favorite bait in the summer was a grape worm, and I go, there's nothing wrong with that. So I'd always send him pictures of my pond and stuff like that, and we kind of shared some information on that. So we usually just talk fishing, but Clint's a really good guy. He's very knowledgeable. His dad was obviously Gary Kubiak, and had a lot of success. And the biggest thing he did is he surrounded himself with some good people too. Like if you look at his O-line coach, like Rick Dennison is kind of like his senior analyst kind of guy that really handles the run game. And then the O-line coach was with us at New Orleans and went with him to Seattle. I think he's a really good technician, and he surrounded himself with some good people. The quarterback coach was there. So there's a lot of guys that went from New Orleans to Seattle, and then he took them to the Raiders. So he's got some familiarity around him with people he knows. And then, the NFL is people don't realize how difficult it is to play quarterback in that league. So I think getting a guy like Cousins who has experience and really has had success. Now he's had some years where, he's thrown a lot of picks and things like that. But overall, I mean, he's a quality quarterback. And to be able to pair him up with a guy that you took in the first round, now you're not forced to play that guy. Because what happens is when everybody's a creature of your habits, right? So if the more uncertain you are, the less experience you got, you're going to rely on your habits to survive. That's why, quarterback scrambling in the National Football League is a no-no. And I know that, with Lamar and Mahomes and, that's kind of become a thing now. But at the end of the day, they really don't want those guys running the ball. They want them to get rid of the ball, like get your read, get ready to go. So, by being able to pair him with a veteran guy with the first pick that the Raiders took at the quarterback, it allows them to develop him, but they're not forced to play him. Because like when I was in Houston and we ended up starting with Carr, right? Now we actually beat Dallas 9-7 opening night. It was the first time in franchise history or an expansion team in their first game beat a team. We actually got a safety and beat them 9-7, but we were forced to play Carr. And I think we went 4-12 that year. And, it just, what happens is you end up getting hit. Okay. And maybe what you think gets murky, like, hey, pre-snap, I'm going to throw it here. Well, post-snap, it's murky. I can't throw it there. So now I got to hold the ball. Well, when I hold the ball, I get hit.
Right.
So then what happens is people start surviving. They live with their feet, and then they start scrambling. And that's not what you want. So I think they're in a really good situation from a quarterback standpoint, of being able to play a good player, to let the other, because the problem is players know if you're playing a rookie quarterback, like, and you don't have a chance, they know that, right? So now by playing Cousins, the other players on the team feel like they have a chance to win the game.
Yeah,
they still want to win the game. And I just think it makes a better situation for everybody. So I think they're in a good spot, and I think Clint's a really good coach. And anyway, I don't know if he's been able to fish as much, because Del Rio interviewed me with the Raiders, and of course that now they've moved to Vegas, but I'm not sure, the fishing that he's going to have out there. And I gotta maybe ask him about that. How's the fishing this summer and everything?
Ryan Pry asked a question, Coach, who has a reputation in the league for not being a nice guy, but actually really are great once you get to know them behind the scenes? Like the media may put out there about guys that is not true.
You mean from a coaching standpoint? I'd have to really think about that, because I really get along with most guys anyway, and I don't really listen to the media. The one guy that I would say, not necessarily a coach, but like the owner, is Jerry Jones. Like, I like Jerry. Okay. I mean, Jerry spent his money. He can do what he wants to with it. Right. But Jerry was a guy that really got to know you. Like, for example, when we played a preseason game, we were in Oxnard, California, and we were playing San Diego, the Chargers. So we took a train all the way. It's like it was like a 5-hour train ride or something like that. And they had it set up. Of course, it was all very plush, right? We had his own caboose, right? and being that I was a new coach, like, you would go back to the caboose for like hour and a half, and he got to know you. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
And he would spend time with you, just getting to know you, about you, your family, and those kind of things. And he's very passionate, from that standpoint. So the thing about Jerry, he's a business guy, and he really is not involved in the draft like people think. Like, the way we did the draft when I was there is we had our draft meetings, which are very long and tedious, right? And you got guys arguing, you got a scout saying this, a coach saying this, the DC saying this. So anyway, you got to rank your players, right? And you got to give everybody a ranking. And then you have your position rankings, and then you got to do an overall ranking. Like, hey, are we going to take this wide receiver or this defensive tackle, with the third pick? Well, you got to have that ranking and everything. So as a position coach, you're kind of more involved in the ranking of your position per se. And you have all of this, and it's very tedious, right? Well, then we would set that up. And then 4 days before the draft, we had meetings with Jerry. Well, those meetings were just to appease him, because we'd already done the board. The board was done. And basically you came in and you read your summary. And is that where you want him on the board? Yep, that looks good. Of course, you've already done that 2 weeks before or a week before. You've already done those rankings. So, and it just moved along so much faster because Jerry couldn't sit still that long, right? So it would end up taking like a 2-day summary of how you're doing it. And Jerry, being a business guy, was the standpoint of, as long as he felt that you were really good and competent at your job and that you had value to the organization, he was great. But once he ever felt there was somebody better or you weren't competent, then he was tough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's really where he was. So I really had no problem with him relative to the way the media portrays him. Some of that he brings on himself, obviously, with the way he'll say things, but he likes to do that to juice it up. And really he does it to create value, because his motto is, they're either talking about us really good or about us really bad, but at least they're talking about us. But he does create value. Just for example, like if you look at the sale of the Seattle Seahawks, and what they sold for, like if the Dallas Cowboys was to come available, which they will not, because Steven will take the team. I mean, the value of that would exceed that by quite a bit and everything. So that would probably be the one person that, he's from Arkansas. You know what I mean? I mean, he's made his money. He's a businessman. He can sell. Like he does. Like the one thing I'll say about owners is, like, I worked for the guy Houston McNair, and I worked for Jerry, and those two guys like made their money, right? So they were very good at talking to the organization, whether it be the employees or the team. They could sell, they could motivate. And then I worked for guys that were given the teams, through their dads, and they really didn't like earn it. You know what I mean? And their speaking or ability to move people was nowhere near as good as those two guys. So that was one thing that was pretty interesting to me from a leadership standpoint and everything. So I would say that's probably the one that is probably a little bit more down to earth than people think, and everything he says kind of gets blown up.
Another question here for you, Coach. Do teams draft the best players on the board always, or go by position they need, or is it kind of a balance? What's the best way to go about it? Well, what was your experience?
Each team is a little different. Each team is a little different. Some guys will now later in the draft, most teams are going to take the best player available, regardless of where your needs are and those kind of things. Now, what you're going to end up doing though, early on with the better higher picks, is you're going to take need based. You know what I'm saying? Because you can only play so many guys. So early in the draft, you're going to end up taking more of a need and what you kind of need to make your team better. But as you fill that out and you get later in the draft, you're going to take the best available player, because, like the analytics will tell you, like everybody's in analytics now. So like you can look at a guy's height, weight, speed, arm length, wingspan, his short shuttle, his broad jump. You can have all these these measurables, and it'll give you a percentage of his chances to start in the NFL. That doesn't mean he's going to, but in other words, if he's in the 80th percentile, meaning 80% of the people that play the position he plays, they have the measurables he has. Well, his chances of making your team are pretty good. Whereas, let's say you take a guy and let's say his numbers were in the 30s. Well, his numbers are in the 30s. His chances become a lot more difficult, to make the National Football League based upon the measurables that he's shown. And it's not an exact science, for sure, but you're kind of going to go off the analytics on the end of the line guys and go off measurables, or there's some kind of trait you like. You know what I mean? There's something that sticks out to you that this player can do. That was Nick's big thing whenever he recruited. Don't tell me what they can't do. Tell me what they can do. And I've always taken that approach. What can this player do? And then you try to fit it within your scheme to help your team become better.
I think months ago you made the statement. I hear it now all the time, and I think about you. You said, look, if you look at a guy and he can play, we'll find a place for you. You'll talk to the kid. He may not be the kid he was in high school here, but we can get you on the field, right? It's about good football players. And I hear that so much now. I think, well, we heard that on the show like 8 months ago from Coach Grant.
I think the biggest mistake that football coaches make is they pigeonhole themselves into saying this guy can only play this position. Even when I was at Georgia, we cross-train people and what I mean by cross-train is like, hey, we may have a safety have to play nickel, which we did in the spring. We may have a defensive end that's got to kick down to a defensive tackle. We may have a corner that's got to go to safety. And the reason that you do that is football is about ability. You got to have athletic ability to play the position. And I want to get my next best player in the game if an injury happens or something, or a package. How do I get these guys in the game? Like, for example, if I got some edge rushers, well, I can only play 2 guys at edge. So who can be an inside guy and rush inside, and then who might be able to be a move around guy? So I might be able to get 3 to 4 of those guys in the field at the same time and everything. So then what that does, though, is I think it helps your team in the standpoint of you give everybody a defined role. Okay, you got to define roles for everybody, because everybody wants to have some kind of worth in what they're doing. And how can I define a role for you and what you do to help our team win? So I think it's important that you cross-train guys to get them to learn. And I think it helps them see the big picture, meaning if I'm the nickel, okay, all right, well, if I'm playing safety generally and I play behind the nickel, well, I know what's happening behind me. And now all of a sudden I move to the nickel position. Well, I know what's behind me if I got help or not because I played that position, before I moved here. So I think that from a big picture standpoint, it helps you become a better student of your defense and what you do.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and that's the way it should be. And Coach Beamer did that as well as anybody, didn't he? During his time,
Yeah, Coach.
Yeah.
We when I was with Phil there. I mean, when you recruit, you're really just recruiting, and you never know how that's why you got to be careful in pro football. Like even as smart as, and I'm going to go back a little bit, Al Grove was at Virginia. And, he ended up not finishing very well. And one of the things that I had someone ask him, because he was a big 3-4 guy, and they wanted these big guys and that kind of thing, is he said, I would not pigeonhole myself into taking guys for a position. And what he's saying is I just don't want to take a left defensive end. I want to take a defensive end that could be a defensive end, might grow into being a tackle. I can slide. So you got position flexibility, because nobody really knows where these kids are going to grow. I mean, when they're 17, 18-year-old and all of a sudden they get into a good training program, they get, good training table food and that kind of thing. Like I've had guys gain 35 pounds in one semester, and it's just because now they're eating. And I think you got to be careful in pigeonholing yourself into saying a guy can only play one position. So I think in college, what you have to do, or I know you got to do, is you got to make sure that you're taking athletes and then you figure it out as they grow.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, I like that. It just opens up so many more options for your roster, doesn't it? I mean, it's smart. It's smart. Yeah. Well, now as you talk to guys, and how much more time you got there in the beautiful lake house there? How much more time you got?
So I got a couple more weeks. We actually, I'll leave 2 weeks. I'll leave 2 weeks from tomorrow, and I'll head back. And I'll still do some things from here. Nowadays with, the computer and iPad and all that, like I'm connected to our Thundercloud system, so I can watch practice. I can watch guys, 7-on-7. I can do all of that. And then we rotate guys in the office. So one of our quality control guys, he'll be in the office the last week, and then I'll be coordinating with him, our install packages to get those done, which they're kind of done now, but we'll finalize them that last week. But I can do that from here, and and then kind of roll. So with technology, you can kind of be away a little bit and still get work done and not have to be in the office this time of year anyway.
Coach almost said he's keeping the largemouth for you. He's here in the New River Valley. He's going to hit the river today if he can.
He loves the river, man. He loves the river. He loves walking the river and fishing that, and that's his joy, man. He enjoys doing that.
It's not very deep right now in the drought, but we did get some rain over the weekend, so hopefully that will help. Hopefully that will help.
Yeah, well, that's good. Hopefully he'll be able to catch some fish and have a little bit of fun.
Before I let you go, this mess at Michigan, it just gets worse every day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. The only thing it's interesting is they haven't won national championships. So
yeah,
I mean, that'll be the trade-off of is it worth it or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty unique as far as the amount of things that have happened there over the last 10 years. And anyway, we'll see how it shakes out the later part of this week.
Yeah, it's quite wide. That's what we've been asking people today. Like, does the national championship part outweigh the mess around it? I'm pleasantly surprised. Most people are saying no, they wouldn't want it to be that way. They don't want all that stuff around their program. So that's kind of cool.
It's a lot. So
it is a lot.
It's a lot. So we'll just see how it shakes and get back to playing football in the fall, and they'll. Once the ball kicks off, they'll be focused on that. So,
yeah, no doubt. They got one heck of a football coach too. So,
yeah, he's a really good. Him and Dan Mullen worked together, and actually, Dan wanted it. Dan was the OC, and Kyle was the DC, and Kyle got the job, and that was the reason that Dan left. Kyle actually offered Dan the OC's job when Urban left, but he ended up going with Urban, and Kyle did a good job while he was there. And really, he was forced out, this past year, really because they kind of felt maybe he's a little bit too old, or couldn't do it again. So anyway, I'm sure he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how they do.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah, that's right. Let's run that guy out of there. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That makes a heck of a lot of sense. All right, brother. Well, enjoy your time, man. It's good stuff. And thanks for answering everybody's questions. Good knowledge.
Yeah, you guys take care. Have a good week. I'll see you next week. All right,
brother.
See you.
There you
Bye-bye.
go. There you go. Todd Grantham still smiling there in the sunshine at his beach house or at his lake house. Good stuff. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. Very, very jealous. Thanks for the questions, too. Appreciate that. Don't forget, by the way, to reach out to Professional Door Incorporated this month to get $40 off your preventative maintenance visit, 674-0008. It's great stuff. Great stuff. And don't forget, this Saturday, we are going to be over at the Bash. Come see us. There it is. Boom. Red Solo Cup. 6 o'clock at the NRV Super Bowl, Saturday, July 18th. Stop by, say hi, kick a tire or two. We're going to do some bowling, going to talk to Coach Elmo and whoever else can show up. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. And you don't have to feel obligated to come. You don't have to feel obligated to stay a long time, but you're going to have food and beverage. We've got a big room for you. And we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to meeting some people in person. I met quite a few people in chat in person already, but it would be great to get to know even more of you in chat. Yeah, it really stinks about Sam Neill passing away. Everybody knows him as Dr. Grant in Jurassic Park, but he was terrific. Absolutely terrific in a lot of things, but no doubt in that movie. And I didn't realize he was almost 80. And I was just reading a thing about it here. He apparently had just beaten cancer like about a year ago, gotten through cancer and looked like, and then I don't know what happened. They haven't said anything about this. Yeah, sad, man. Very, very sad. The cycle of life. It can really suck. It really can. Absolutely. Thank you, Donald. Donald says, great stuff. I always enjoy Mondays knowing you get Coach Elmo and Coach Grantham. Such knowledge. Yeah, it's cool, man. You get a look inside that whole, how it all works. And now when you're watching on Saturday and Sunday, you can kind of get a better visual for it. It is cool. It's very, very cool. All the way around. You learn a lot. You just kind of become a sponge. Coach Elmo did it for trying to think the average over 4 decades, 18 schools. Think of all the different places he influenced. Todd Grantham's done it at the highest level in college, in the SEC, many stops in the National Football League for many years. And now he's trying to help rebuild a program. Just good stuff, man. Yeah, ain't no sunshine in over here. And it looks like it's going to last a while, right? Sun may make an appearance on Wednesday. It's okay, man. I will not complain. We need the rain. We need the rain. It is very, very dry. Everything is too dry around here. And it looks like it's going to be kind of it's not pouring, but there's a steady little light rain falling, and that's what you need. Absorb it. Get that in the ground around the greenery. And where I always see it is down at the river, down by Deadman Center. Whew. Not good. Not good. Not good at all, actually. Did you see by the way, did you see on X the viral video of the bison, the male bison in Yellowstone National Park? This gentleman and his wife got out of their vehicle. It was during mating season. You'll find it if you just go to Google or YouTube and type in bison throwing man or something like that. And he gives all the warning signals with his tail. He rolls around, the tail goes in the air, and he charges. This is an animal that weighs about 2,800 pounds. And he gets on top of that man in a heartbeat. No, we haven't decided yet, Wayne. We need a question of the week. But he lifts him up about 30 feet in the air. I don't know if the man survived. It's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, question of the week. I don't know. I like the one that you had leading us to who has the best record. Let's make a decision tomorrow. Tech or Penn State. I mean, it's going to be very, very Penn State. I mean, Virginia Tech heavy here, obviously. Maybe we should go the other direction. Can Virginia replicate its season from a year ago? Can they be back in the mix? Something like that. I don't know. We'll decide tomorrow. Again, congrats to Radford's Raymond Ladd. Their ace got drafted yesterday in the 14th round. Awesome. Well, that's a good one. The movie you think of when thinking about an all-time summertime blockbuster. Let's go with that. That'll be fun. So there's our BDST attorney Ryan Pry fan question of the week. The movie you think of as the summer blockbuster. I might have to write these down. We'll get a lot, won't we? Summer blockbuster. Jaws is the first vote. Jaws is a great movie. Great movie. All right. Good start. Good start to a Monday. What's up, Dwight Vick? They do. They hope they found their guy. I heard the kid out of Missouri looks better than the kid they had last year. And then they took the kid from Pitt, too. And we'll see how that develops. But he's got to get out there and perform, right? Much like Virginia Tech with Ethan Grunkemeyer, they performed pretty well at their last stop. Now, how do they come into the new program? We'll see. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday. We'll see you tomorrow on the Tuesday edition. Don't forget, I believe today on the ACC network, it's Tech Takeover Day. I don't know how they do that in 4 days with a bunch of different programs or whatever, but I think Tech is the lead program today. If you want to watch some highlights, check it out. Thanks to the sponsors. We'll see you tomorrow on the Tuesday edition, everybody. Stay safe.